Hey guys, Mel the Train Tutor here again with another product overview for you. And in this one, we're going to be looking at Modelmates, weathering sprays and washes and pigments and stuff like that. Now, Modelmates is a company in the UK. Their web address is modelmates.co.uk, and they produce a range of weathering products, and that's specifically what they do. They're into weathering. Now, straight off from the bat, yeah, Alan, the wonderful bloke over there, has sent me these for free. Yeah, now, just because they've been sent for free does not mean it's going to alter my opinion of them. He did turn around and say, look, give them an honest review. And I did honestly say when he said that, I wondered, well, it's one of two situations. Either this guy hasn't seen my product reviews or he's confident in his products. And I've got to say, after playing around with them, yeah, he's confident in his products. And it's I can understand why, guys. Okay. Now, there's a whole load of different things here. You've got, rust effects, which is quite nice. Yeah, you've got these spray cans. I've got a couple of different versions. I've got verdigris. I've got some moss here. There's some more moss somewhere. Yeah, there's moss there. Okay. I've got mud brown, oil brown, sand brown, soot black, and thinning liquids that are water soluble. Alan, I don't get that. You'll have to explain that one to me, mate. Thinning liquids that are water soluble. Please tell me it's not just water. You'll notice I haven't opened it yet, so I could probably open it in solvent. Now they smell solvent based, okay? And there's a couple of tricks to these. Now they've got these sprays as well, which I really, really like. Okay, but for this product overview, I don't know enough about the whole range to sort of be honest with you guys. So what I'm going to do is just concentrate on the few things I've been playing around with. Yeah, and the idea is I'll show you some of the effects that I've got with them, so some of the problems that I've had with them. Yeah, due to my ignorance, I should say. Okay, and then I'll show you an actual practical application of it so you can see how easy it is to apply this stuff. A couple of little tips, and then you can see, we'll leave it at that. So let's move these out of the way, and what we're going to do is we are purely going to look at which ones shall we look at? Not rust. What's that one? Not verdigris. We will look at oil brown, sand brown, and their mud mix. Yeah, I will save oil brown though. Now, yeah, obviously these are a pigment. Well, they're not a pigment. They're a weathering liquid. I quite like that. But basically, it's almost like concentrated wash. But it's concentrated in a solvent. It's very clever stuff. See how dark that is? Now, that will dry really light. And that sort of threw me a curveball, and I'll show you why. Okay. Now, remember the quick build? Yeah, that we threw some paint on. Yeah. I've used this as a test piece. And straight away, I mean, you can see the rust effects. And it's really nice. But I want to do a bit more work with that before I do an overview on their rust features. But you see this washing down here, this lightness. Now, this is that, mud brown that they've got. Okay. And I looked at the bottle and it reminded me of Devlin mud, and I just simply assumed that it would be a dark wash, a dark, weathering wash. And it turns out it isn't. It's actually really light. So that sort of threw me a curveball because I wasn't sure whether, the solvents were reacting with the emulsion underneath, and this is why it was going all white, because I've got it all round here. And it was only when it thoroughly dried and I sat back that I went, actually, that really does look like dried mud. And when I say dried mud, I mean it. When you climb on military vehicles and you've got mud on your boots and you leave some mud behind, it dries out and then it goes to like a fine powder. Yeah, and that's what it's looked like. Okay, anyone who's been in the military will tell you they've spent ages washing that colour off vehicles after an exercise. Yeah, same on gantries and gangplanks where there was mud, on boots and stuff. They've gone onto metal gantries or on pavements. They've walked, the mud's come off, it's dried. It ends up looking like that with this stuff. This is pretty amazing. But obviously it wasn't the look I was looking for because I wanted to build shadow in. And I threw some sealer over it, and that seemed to darken it up again. But obviously I don't want, I wanted a specific wash. So I carried on playing, but yeah, I had to play with the the sprays as well. Now, one quick thing, do you notice this, guys? Yeah. Now, these sprays and this stuff obviously contain solvent. Okay, and I think what's happened is it's slightly melted the edge of the foam where the cardboard meets the foam board, and it's slightly melted and it's come unhinged. Now, I don't think I've done a load of test pieces and this hasn't really happened before. And I think the reason this is so excessive is I blasted this with a heat gun. And it's quite to dry out when we were doing the gritting tutorial. And it's quite possible that what's happened is that the heat gun has melted the glue underneath. Yeah, but it is something to be aware of that these do contain solvents. Okay, and that was sort of a wake-up call to me that, oh yeah, they melt polystyrene, don't they? Yeah, and yet I haven't had any problems anywhere else with it. And you know, this has had a good coating, and a few other pieces have. Okay, so but be aware of that. Now coming on to, let's have a look at this side. Now look at that. Look at that for weathering. Yeah. Now I'll be honest with you. The only weathering I've done on this side is with their sand brown spray. That's it. Yeah, and it's brilliant. So this is what I'm going to be showing you coming up. Okay, and this, to be truthful. Yeah, but the sand brown spray, if you want that dirty, grungy, worn down look, and it literally was just spray and dab with a cloth, you know, this is the stuff for you. Yeah, they might have better stuff. I haven't got my hands on it yet. Right, coming to the front, yeah, I gave the front a coat of sealant, which is why it's shiny, because I haven't given it another coat of matte yet, because I wanted to show you how it does actually matte things down when the wash is on. Okay, but this was given a spray of oil brown, and this is very, very realistic for oil. Anyone who's been around machinery, it doesn't really work with these sort of buildings, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, because it does look, well, why has it got oil all over it? Because it does look like oil. It's got that speckled. It's really hard to describe, guys, but you know, it does really, really look like oil. You know, anyone who's, you know, spray this around manufacturing, spray this around equipment, that sort of stuff, industrial stuff, it'll look brilliant. Yeah, and you know me, guys, you know, it's rare for me to rave about something. You know, I can always find negatives with stuff. I can always nitpick, but this stuff is bloody brilliant. Yeah. So what have I done here? There's a couple of different shades. Well, this one, okay, is just a spray. Now, one of the problems I found with doing the sprays, yeah, is it was a light spray, and because of the nature of aerosols, they don't actually go into into the cracks that well. And if you notice, you'll see a light patch under there where the aerosol didn't get it. Okay. Also, these channels here and here will appear slightly lighter. Yeah, and that's because the aerosol couldn't get the pigment in there. And so I was thinking about it, so right, well, what can we do? So, well, I'll tell you what, with this one's had the same spray, but what I've done is I've added some of the mud brown, yeah, as a pigment wash into the sides. And this was while I was still playing around trying to figure out why it was so light. Yeah, and this was my attempt of putting it on top of sealant to see if, you know, if it was reacting with the emulsion underneath. And it wasn't. This is when I suddenly realized, oh my God, it's light mud. Okay, so what I did is I used oil brown on this one. Yeah, and I simply ran it under there, under there, under there. Yeah, and then just blended it in, etc. And that worked brilliantly. Now, like I say, the oil brown, I'm not going to say that rates, yeah, for urban buildings like this. Yeah, because the oil doesn't suit it. A refinery, anywhere where there would be lots of oil and oil particles in the air from machinery, yes. Yeah, middle of a city centre, no. Yeah, but that looks brilliant. All Nurgle players should have this. Yeah, just spray all your vehicles and your models in this. They'll look great. So anyway, so that's what I've done with it. Now, a couple of little issues I found. It's designed to be used with models, you know, like proper models. Yeah. And railroad models and things like that. So when I started banging it against this sort of texture paint, the dabbing effect I was having some problems with. Also, it's a lot of the videos that are out there and a lot of the instructions talk about, you know, moving it around with a brush, which is fine for models and small things. But what I found was that when working with big areas of terrain, yeah, the issues I had was when moving it around with a brush, I got brush strokes. Yeah, because you know it's such a wide flat surface. Yeah, so the aerosols are far better for the tray. Now obviously this stuff can be put through an airbrush. I've got an airbrush, but I'm not confident enough to use it properly yet, and I'm certainly not confident enough to to tell you guys how to airbrush with this sort of stuff. Yeah, so I'm not going to. Yeah, and we're going to work on the basis that you haven't got an airbrush. Yeah, when we do this piece. Now this piece is the other quick build. Yeah, and all it has had is a base coat of cheapo emulsion. It has not been sealed other than the initial watered down PVA when we stuck the grit to it. Okay, so this is on bare paint. I've got a couple of sides. It's not as detailed as this, obviously, but it should give me a chance to show you the effects. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is I'm going to bob outside because it's glorious. I'm going to take my phone. I'm going to spray these up and show you them being sprayed. So let's go over to that. Okay, guys, we're out on the back step. Well, we're out on the side step, should I say.
You're not going to cover my shoes in spray paint, are you?
No, of course I'm not, darling. You watch me, guys. And basically, yeah, sorry about the noise, but people are going up and down, but don't worry about the noise, just watch the spraying. Now, I've given it a good shake. There doesn't seem to be an agitator in here, or it's that full that I can't get the damn thing to shake even though I've shaked it vigorously. Yeah? But what you're going to do is you're basically going to spray it and you're going to go in nice long sweeps, gentle, about 30, about 30 centimetres away, so a foot away from the piece. Yeah, and I want to keep the weathering a bit more towards the bottom. And that's all it is. Okay? And that's going to dry now. You can smell the solvent in it.
Well, they can't.
I can. And what I want to do is very quickly. You get the finest sort of bike riders around here. We're going to do the same with this one, okay? And this is the sand brown. Now I'm going to go a bit more heavier, so I'm going to go closer with this. I'm going to spray it there. And you can see how much closer I'm going. And I want a heavy dropping on it. Look at my hand. Look at how much I put on compared to that side. Okay, and you'll see why in a minute. So let's just leave this dry and then we'll come back to it, eh? So we're back inside, guys, and the spraying's dried. It's taken less than 2 minutes, yeah? And you can sort of see the effects there. Yeah, especially when you turn it around and compare it to the original colour. Now remember, it was all this colour, yeah? So that is the sand brown heavy on, and that's the oil brown heavy on. Now, obviously we've sprayed it, but we want to sort of have a play with it. Now, this stuff is water soluble, so you can wet it, yeah, move it about, let it set, wet it, move it about, let it set, okay? Quite funky, really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a cloth, and all I'm going to do, I'm just trying to figure the best way of doing this, yeah, that's probably it, for you to see if you know what I mean, yeah, is I've just dipped that much on the cloth. Yeah, I'm giving it a bit of a rub and a squeeze because all I want is a damp cloth. I don't want a wet cloth. Okay, so that's damp to touch, you know, but it's not soaked. And all you've got to do, and it's going to be a bit difficult because I want you to see this, if you know what I mean, is come along and just wet areas. And as you do it, yeah, see that clean patch? Now, it's a bit difficult with what you call it when it's textured. Yeah, so you've got to do it in lots of little bits. Lots and lots of little bits. And what I'm going to do is very quickly, I'm going to speed this up now. There you have it. Okay, how quick was that? Okay, and as you can see, all I've basically done is given it a light spray, a little bit heavier at the bottom, and then just with my cloth, I've just dabbed in the central areas so it's got shading around all the windows and the doors. Yeah, and this literally was a 2-minute jobby. Okay, so you can see how quickly. Now, obviously, that's quite a bit of a rush job with this pointing towards the camera and everything. You can see how easy it is to get some really good effects if you're just sitting down and working with it and not concentrating on filming as well. Right, so let's spin it round. Yeah, the really heavy one. Okay, and let's do this again. How's that? Really dirty and grimy. Dead easy. Just dabbing at it, guys. Okay, and like I said, you know, once you've got a bit more texture and color to work with, I mean, this is just on top of, you know, one color of, you know, basically it's just on top of that. And you can see the difference it makes. So you throw some highlight in and what you call it, some colors in there first, then apply the weathering powders and you start getting these effects. Yeah, but what I want to sort of show you is that's all I did with the weathering effects to these. Yeah, to get these sort of effects. Okay, so it's pretty impressive stuff, and like I say, it's dead easy to work with. You just got to know how. Now, a couple other just little things. Yeah, let's have a look at doing the actual pigments. Yeah, and I'll sort of take you through that. Okay, so bog standard brush, some water. Yes, it's in a pint glass. That's because I was drunk yesterday, because it was my birthday, and I was drunk as a skunk. Right, okay, what am I looking for? I am looking for oil brown, okay? And this is because this is quite a dark one, and that's the effect I want to get. And basically, what I want to do is just show you how you put it into the corners, yeah? And work it around. So let's do that now. So, agitators in the bottle. Give it a good shake. Pre-wet your brush. Yeah. You don't want this soaking, so remove all the excess water. This stuff does have a tendency to stick your brushes when it's set. Yeah, so I always find just dip your brush in after you've been applying it, just leave it in sitting in water. Okay, and that'll just basically keep it loose and then you can just wash it out and it's fine. Okay, and what I'm going to do is take a little bit of my pigment. Now remember, what you call it, you can apply this stuff either direct like that, okay, or you can pre-mix it as a wash. So what I could have done is I could have taken a blob of this, dropped it in some water, okay, given it a swizz around, make an even wash and just apply a wash with it, yeah, but what I want to do is put in specific shade in specific, you know, areas of darkness, yeah, and so I'm applying it neat, okay, you may say, but Mel, that's like super harsh. Yes, it is, isn't it? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a damp brush and I'm going to wet it because it dries pretty quickly. And as I wet it, those tide marks will start to disappear. You can see them disappearing. Come on, disappear. Bit more water. Now, as you wet it and you get this pigment, yeah, you will get pigment pooling. And what I mean by pigment pooling is as you add water to dilute this down and spread it out and add the weather in, okay, what will happen is that the water will collect the pigment and pool at the bottom, yeah, very much like normal washes. But if you leave it there, it will set really unrealistically dark. So what you need to do is with sort of a damp brush, just go along and sort of suck it up the brush, then use it to reapply. So there you have it, guys. Awesome shading. Absolutely awesome. Like I say, I think this has just dyed the pigment a little bit too much, yeah, with it being, what you call it, with it not being sealed and it going straight on top of untreated, well, basically emulsion and what you call it, foam board. But it's not a problem at all, okay? Quite like the effect. Once it's actually applied to, you know, a proper building, brilliant. Okay, absolutely brilliant. But that's how easy it is to work with. I mean, I really do rate these things. Brush, spray can, damp cloth, yeah, absolutely brilliant effects. Really good. Now, obviously, I'm going to carry on with playing around with these things, and no doubt there'll be another product overview, and maybe a little bit of a masterclass when I've used all the bottles. Like I say, I want to pick up a few of the other things because I don't think oil brown particularly works that well. Yeah, with buildings, with city fight buildings, and I want to find something that works really well with this sort of stuff. Yeah, but I really do like that sand brown. Yeah, on top of treated. Yeah, absolutely astounding stuff. Absolutely astounding. So yeah, Alan, your confidence was rightly due, mate. Yeah, this is excellent products, really good, and I highly recommend them. Okay, now there's lots of other videos. If you check out modelmates.co.uk, he's got loads of different videos that people have done for him and magazines. This stuff is used in television. I think it's been used on Doctor Who and all sorts of stuff. Okay, so there's plenty out there about it. Yeah, my personal rating is, yeah, I like this stuff. I like it a lot, gents, and that's my honest opinion, even though they were free. Yeah. Simple as, I'm not going to lie to you. They are tricky to use. This is not Devlan mud, okay? You don't just dip it in and off you go. You've got to apply it with a bit of thought and, a bit of preparation, but the results are brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So, guys, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it useful. I'm going to watch you crack on with buildings. No doubt you'll see this stuff again. I'm damn sure you'll see this stuff again. I mean, just look at that rust. Okay, let me autofocus just for a second so you can see that. Look at that rust. Yeah, the effects from this stuff is phenomenal. Credit where it's due. Modelmates, you know how to make this stuff. You know your weathering. Brilliant, guys. Absolutely brilliant. Anyway, guys, the sun is shining. I've got to go get the kids because it's school run time, so I'm going to be dodging the mummy mafia. I'll see you soon, guys. Like if you've liked it, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and as always, throw a comment in. Yeah, let's chat. Talk to me. Put a comment down there. You know the crack. In the meantime, I don't even know where my Modelmate sprays are. They're in the kitchen. This is Modelmates. This is bloody brilliant stuff, guys. All the best. Ta-da.